We do use Microsoft Word to write. I know, I'm sorry. I hate Microsoft too. The company values don't align with our values at all. But in first grade, every fortnight, our teacher would take us to the computer lab and teach us how to use Microsoft Word, PowerPoint. I've got ideas. I'm thinking her birthday is the day of the reaping. I think we haven't seen that before. Of course, the concept is wonderful, but like, is it the best concept that I've read in a fan fiction? No. Is it the best writing? It's up there. I had to stop to catch my breath and breathe because of how angry this book made me. I spent all of the day before the rheumatologist, we were just stamping all of our books. It took like 3 hours, and this is a time lapse. But we were just stamping. Irene and fishnets. I think just the fishnets in this video, like I said, like 20-year-old me died. I don't think I've ever recovered. At the moment, my real prime beef, if you will, with AI is not the plagiarism. I'm over that. I got over that 2 years ago. The water crisis? The water crisis. That's kind of a big issue. There is the one bed trope in chapter 3. The purpose of the one bed trope is that you put it in as a plot device after there is tension built between the couples, right? There's bubbling, and then at the pinnacle, it's like, fuck, now I have to share a bed with this person that I've been building tension with. What's gonna happen? All the references to the old songs. Yes, I know the death card. Thank you. You've been coming out a lot recently. She's not even green in the original, which I expected she would be. Like, it's funny how much movies can influence your original understanding of the material. There was a program where you had to learn how to touch type. Not that that's ever come in handy. The way our teacher would go on about how this is like a necessary skill to learn how to touch type, and it's just like, when have I ever used that skill? Nothing you write is ever wasted. Like, I could have so easily gone, oh, I didn't win, I didn't get picked for top 50, I'm just going to throw the story away. That's definitely something 17-year-old me would do. But 28-year-old me, I'm just like, no, wait, there's use for this. Maybe not right now, but there's use for this. And they're basically just being like, yeah, this is all of our vocal talents. And yeah, we all sing beautifully. And not only do we sing beautifully, but we all have our own signature sound that's just like so fresh and organic. Like, oh, I watched this. When this came out, I was just like, yes. New girl, the legs. Let's have a moment for the legs. The characters are unlikable. The plot is like non-existent. This whole time they're working up to the Olympics, and then we don't get to the Olympics. They get together and then we see the Olympics as a once-off line in the epilogue of like, oh yeah, by the way, we went to the Olympics, got silver. Okay, sorry, I thought we were just working up to that. No, this whole book is such a kerfuffle. I'm gonna Google it because I can't go on without knowing. Yes, I am aware that this yellow shirt makes us look like one of the Yellow Wiggles. It's giving Sahai, it's giving Greg, it's giving Emma, and I'm okay with that. I know everyone's just like, Suzanne, right? Phoenix games, right? Hamish's games, and we're finally getting those. But I've always wanted Annie's games. I need to know what happened, and I think it's more interesting if she has a story where she actually volunteered for this. She volunteered for the games. Am I straight? No. Will I read a straight romance? Yes, absolutely. Am I poly? No. Will I read a poly romance? Yes, absolutely. Hello, this is fan fiction based off original source material, and then the musical is kind of a fanfic screenplay. I mean, when's the last time we had one of those? It very much gives like the queer experience with religious guilt, and it very much gives guilty as sin, which I talked about in the Torture Poets department as well. One of her gay songs, top 3, I said, and I stand by that. He's also said that Elphaba isn't exactly based off him, it's just she is kind of a caricature of the combined otherness that people feel. So it's not just a gay metaphor, it's also the invisible lines that divide all of society, not just gay and straight. It's a hockey romance, the whole series, they're all hockey players. So if hockey romance is not your thing, or you've read too many because it's what the industry's favoring right now, and you're like, oh, I can't do another hockey romance, well, maybe it's not for you. But out of all the hockey romances that we've read, it's one of the better ones. This man is icking me, and he's toxic as shit. And I can do toxic, like a piece of my heart belongs to Jeremy Volkov. But this toxicity presents and manifests in the first time they sleep together, he ghosts her for a week. He doesn't talk to her for a week. He just ghosts. And she even makes a little joke about it when she confronts him. She's like, this is baby's first ghosting. You're giving me mixed messaging. And he was like, it was too intense for me. And I had to pull away because I pull away from things I want. Just to prove that I want them. Just to prove that I can't live without them. Get a hobby. Maybe this tough guy attitude isn't all what it's cracked up to be. Maybe there's a soft puppy inside. And then we get Fall With Me, which is the 4th and final book that just recently came out. And this book wraps up all the other books so nicely, as well as giving Jackson his own story. This is my favorite out of all the books, not just because these 3 had personal triggers and they were a bit harder to read. Didn't have any personal triggers in this book. Yay me. Joke's on me. Elsie's apparently writing a 4th book and they released the cover. It's called Wild Card, and the cover's actually so cute. The cover's actually amazing, and considering my Rose Hill rankings goes Wild Love A, Wild Eyes S, Wild Side S, of course I'm going to pre-order Wild Card. Of course I am, especially because the plot is literally she breaks up with her boyfriend and ends up with his dad. They're not queer-coded. If you Google are Elphaba and Glinda gay, everything that comes up is why fans are saying these 2 are queer-coded. They're not queer-coded, they're canonically gay, they kiss. I spent my holidays reading every single Elsie Silver book. You know how I said in the Ali Hazelwood Deep End review where I was just like, saying please is not really begging. Like, yes, but no. Like, saying please once is like pleading. I wouldn't count that as begging. Begging with like 3 G's at the end. This is what that is. It wasn't romantic. At one point, she's like, he's so predatory. And I'm like, ooh, word choice. And fuckface is just like, oh my god. What an freak accident, like, I still want to see my son, I love him. And she's like, just because you say you love him doesn't mean you love him. Like, love is also actions. It's also showing up for your son and giving him cuddles and making him his favorite food and actually knowing what his favorite food is. Like, what are you feeding him? Like, anyway, she has a full dig at him, which, you know. And now that I'm grown, I'm scared of ghosts. Memories feel like weapons. Again, from the song Would've, Could've, Should've, which just fucks me up. Like, it's my favorite song, but it does hit hard for me because, again, I've interpreted that with the personal experience I have, and that's the beauty of Taylor's music. Like, you can interpret the songs any which way. Oh my god, that's it. 10 years. 10 years. I've 10 years ago, I was in high school. I was in my final year of high school. I was studying very, very hard for my exams. So much has changed since then. And then down here, I've put a silhouette down here. What if he's written mine on my upper thigh, only in my mind? Guilty as Sin. Another queer-coded song. Definitely top 3. Definitely top 3 quick-coded songs in Taylor's discography. What do you mean? Written mine on my upper thigh. Like, what man? That just made me want to rip this beautiful hardcover that I got, by the way, that I pre-ordered, and I waited so long for it to come. It took so long to arrive. So I actually ended up starting it on Spotify, and I was just like, what? Surely this is a mistake. Like, I was listening to the audiobook and I was like, there's just no way that is what I'm hearing right now. Like, if I had one of the 7 deadly sins to characterize myself by, it would be sloth. Like, not in a lazy way, more in a I like to take my time way. Like, what? Like, it's not my fault. I have a Taurus, Sun, Moon, Venus, and I'm born in the year of the ox. Like, I will take my time. In a romance novel, your job as a romance writer is to get 2 characters, make me the reader like them, and then root for their romance together. I do not like Lucas, but I read it first from the library, and only hook, line, and sinker was available. So I read this first, and then I read the first one, and then I read back and read this one again, and I love them so much that I didn't just buy them, I also bought the Italian translations for Diana as well. If you can get a diagnosis, you should. Not everywhere around the world, like obviously it costs money, especially like if you're in America, like your healthcare system's pretty fucked. But here in Australia, we have supports for people who are autistic and have ADHD, and we have something called the NDIS. And no, it's not perfect. We are an NDIS participant and it's shitty sometimes, but it's like if you can get a diagnosis, it is worth it in this country because you will also get extra supports. Another inconsistency, chapter 35, page 293. Coming from a child of Morpheus, that yawn was more infectious than the plague. Morpheus. Clovis is Morpheus's child? I found this one Tumblr user who said, Clovis from the Morpheus cabin? What the fuck, dude? I read The Lost Hero once when I was 14 and even I remember Clovis was Hypnos's child. Has he forgotten they were different gods or something? Dude, what even is this? For reference, I also read The Lost Hero as a teenager. It's the symbol of my father, Hypnos. Hypnos? Morpheus. If you're new, we have DID. If you don't know what that is, it's basically like we're Ben 10, except instead of wearing the Omnitrix on our wrist, it's built into our brain. If you don't understand that reference, that's fine, just roll with it. It'll make sense as you progress through this video. I never want it to end. I was reading this book and I was like, I never want to leave Maple Hills, not just because it's the last book in the Maple Hills trilogy, but because I didn't want to leave Hallie and Henry behind. The throne room scene? Anyone could have walked past. Just like, that is what gets your heart racing. And that is the difference. Like, that is how you can tell like what's been written from love and through heart and like with like proper editing. This is like, this book is double the size of this one and contains very little substance. Like it's just, it doesn't change whether or not you can fall in love quickly as well. Like, I met my partner and I was gone for them within like the first month. But also lesbian dating. I suggested that I might watch Star Wars and someone was like, okay, but if you're going to do it, you have to start here and then, so apparently they're out of order. And immediately I was like, you know what? Shh. I've made up my mind. If I have to actually pay attention to order because they were released out of order, you've lost me. I'm not going to engage in that piece of media now. Like, I know that some people in the writing community and the book community are upset that influencers are getting book deals and they haven't even written anything. And it's like, I'm not intimidated by that because this is exactly what happened in 2012, 2013, 2014. YouTubers with no interest in writing ended up getting book deals and slapping their name on a ghostwritten book. That's not new. Not gonna lie, I'm really excited to film this video because look, I got a microphone. If you're new here, welcome. We have DID. If you don't know what that means, just roll with it. It's really not important to understand the context of this video. I mean, our legal name is Bear, and the two pom-poms make it look like a bear hat, so I had to get it. The sun is shining, the rainbows are out. We will be writing these 5 books at the same time. Is that a little bit mad? Yes, because when siblings grow up in a household characterized by trauma, it affects them all differently. And so being the youngest, he competes a lot with Declan, who's the oldest, and then Callahan's just out here as the middle child, freeballing life. But oh my god, Jack. You know that Tumblr meme that's just like, and just when you hit rock bottom, you want to fuck a blonde guy? This book had me simping over a man named Ford. It is literary men like Fox that are the reason why it took us so long to figure out that we're gay. Because we came out as bi in 2016, right? And that's because in theory, we like men. In theory, you know? And I was talking to a friend about this in 2020. And I was just like, you know, men in real life, they're just not good. They're just not good. And they were like, oh, what do you mean? What are you comparing them to? And I was like, you know, like men in books. And they were like, you mean the men in books that are written by women? We have DID. If you don't know what that is, just roll with it for now. I am Bear the Human, and that's Professor the Bear. Hold on, hashtag. Hold on, let me look at myself. Hashtag. No, that's not what they did. Hashtag.